Hey everyone, this is Marquise with Smart Money Moves back with another video. I hope you're all doing well and having a great day. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. In this video, I'll be talking about a new survey that suggests half of Americans think crypto assets are the future of finance, Grayscale considering suing the SEC, a school in Dubai accepting tuition fees in Bitcoin and Ethereum, Terra buying $135 million worth of Bitcoin to back their stablecoin, and Microstrategy taking out a $200 million loan to, of course, buy more Bitcoin. So there's just a lot of buying going on in the space right now, especially by whales, and that's why the price has been shooting up. Speaking of, let's have a look at these prices. So at the moment, Bitcoin is currently sitting at $47,428, up 0.5% for the day and up 15.5% for the week. Ethereum is at $3,395, up 1.4% for the day. Binance Coin is at $433, up 0.5%. XRP is at 85 cents, down 2%. Terra is at $108, up 10.3%. Cardano is at $1.19, up 0.4%. Solana is at $111, up 3.9%. And Avalanche is at $92.33, up 1.4%. So just looking at the top 10 coins right now and the market as a whole, everything is currently up. Bitcoin is definitely up, especially over the last few days, last couple of weeks. If we look at this chart here on the right, the 7-day chart, we see it's just a straight line shooting up, which is just fantastic to see. And typically the altcoins follow Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes up, usually the altcoins tend to flow up as well. So the market is in green right now, which is nice to see. Everyone's enjoying it. I think that Bitcoin will probably break through the $50,000 price range. I'd be surprised if it doesn't break through it later this week or sometime early next week, but you never know with the price of Bitcoin. But I do see that happening sometime this week. There's been a lot of buying lately. So let's jump to our first news story. It says over half of Americans think crypto assets are the future of finance. Just scrolling down here, it says the poll found that crypto use among Americans is already widespread, particularly among young adults. 53% of all respondents agreed that cryptocurrency is the future of finance, with 68% of 25 to 34-year-olds and 61% of 35 to 44-year-olds subscribing to this view. The poll also finds that 17% of Americans already own crypto in one form or another. That number is even higher among 25 to 34-year-olds, 28% of whom say they own crypto. So we have a poll here that was done by Starkware, which is a blockchain infrastructure firm. And in their poll, they question people from all different price ranges about cryptocurrencies. And it says here that most young Americans believe that cryptocurrency is the future of finance. And that's no surprise. In fact, I was actually talking about it in my last video, but the world that we live in now, there's so many things that are just done digitally, and why not? It only makes sense for our finances to go that way as well. We pay for things mostly with our cards or with Apple Pay or whatever. We rarely take out paper dollars and paper cash for things. So of course things are becoming more digital, and cryptocurrencies, it only makes sense that that would be the future, and that's where everything is headed. So most young Americans own crypto, and most Americans are, and those that don't own it, I believe that they will be getting more into it as the world goes that way. But this poll here just goes to tell us what we already know, that crypto assets are the future of finance. And let me see if there's anything else to bring out of this article. It does discuss a potential drawback, which is environmental concerns. It says the data found that environmental concerns are the number one drawback to crypto in most Americans' mind. 34% of all respondents said reducing crypto's carbon footprint is important to them, but that number jumps to 49% among 25 to 34-year-olds. So I don't think that crypto's carbon footprint is any worse than the financial system that we're already in. I think that this is a false narrative, and that people try to push this to try and scare people or prevent people from coming into the market. But I don't think that crypto's carbon footprint is any more or any more toxic than the financial system that we already have. Like when you think of how our financial system works now, like we have money that's brought to and from banks, and those large armored trucks that are transporting cash. Like you think about all that gas that's being emitted into the air, and amongst other things as well. Just saying that crypto's carbon footprint isn't nearly as toxic as the system that we're already in. But I think it's a false narrative, but it's one of the things that was mentioned in this article here. But great article. Happy to see that the sentiment for cryptocurrencies, especially among young adults, is positive, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Next news article says Grayscale considers flipping the script and suing the SEC over Bitcoin ETF. The Grayscale CEO says, "I think all options are on the table." And for those that don't know, just to break down what this is about. So the SEC has applied for a Bitcoin spot ETF. They're not the first company to do so. There's several other companies that have done so. And when they apply for an ETF, the SEC has to approve it in order for Americans to invest in it. And so I like that it says, it has a brief section here. So it says the SEC has yet to approve a Bitcoin spot ETF, and Grayscale is pushing for that to change. Crypto investment firm Grayscale has been working for the better part of a year to convert its Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which has over $28.5 billion in assets under management, into a Bitcoin exchange traded fund, or ETF. Standing in its way, however, is the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, which has yet to approve any crypto-backed spot ETF for American investors. With the agency set to make a decision by July 6th, the CEO, Michael Sonnenschein, I probably butchered that, would consider suing the agency if the application is rejected. He told Bloomberg in response to a question about a potential lawsuit, "I think all options are on the table." The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust allows private investors to buy shares in a pool of Bitcoin so they can gain some price exposure to the asset without having to worry about custody. It also can have certain tax benefits compared to direct investment into Bitcoin, but it also has some downsides, including 6-month lockup periods for accredited investors, and pullouts can cause the price to fluctuate. So as we see here in this news article, the Grayscale has applied for a Bitcoin spot ETF with the SEC. And like I said before, they're not the only company to do so. And Grayscale is one of the largest investment firms out there. They have approximately $60 billion in assets under management. And they're not like a small company by any means. And when they apply for a Bitcoin ETF, it's not just the board of advisors or just random people putting in an application. Like they actually hire lawyers that knows what the what's required for an ETF to be approved by the SEC. And the SEC time and time again has continued to reject applications for Bitcoin ETFs. They've rejected applications from Fidelity, from MicroStrategy, from Gemini, from Van Eck, and Grayscale has put in an application, and they actually submitted it last year, and the SEC was supposed to give a verdict on it, I believe, in February, but they pushed it back to now July 6th. And so the CEO of Grayscale is saying that by July 6th, if there's not a positive or if the SEC doesn't approve the application, then he's thinking about suing them. And if they have to sue them, I hope it wouldn't come to that, but it just seems like the SEC has no plans to allow a Bitcoin ETF. And it's unfortunate because that would allow so many people to gain access to to Bitcoin and to the actual asset without actually having to hold it. So I think that once we do get a Bitcoin ETF, we will see just the market just flood and the gates open and people just buy a lot more Bitcoin, and they'll have access actually to the asset without having to self custody it themselves. But the SEC just continues to block this by rejecting the applications. And so if they reject this one, they could have a potential lawsuit on their hands, because it's interesting that they just continue to reject these applications. And I don't even know if they state why they reject them. And I'm assuming if they did, then the company could just go back, fix the reason why, and then submit an application again. So I don't know if they put that in the reasons why they reject them, but they've rejected quite a lot. And if they get sued, so be it. But I think it's smart and it's great that companies are starting to fight back against the SEC. And it's like, why are you rejecting this application for an ETF when it'll help so many people out by allowing them to get into the cryptocurrency space? But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it won't come to it, but it is what it is. Shout out to Grayscale. Next, we have Terra buys an additional $135 million worth of Bitcoin, and the Luna price hits $100. On Monday, March 28th, the Terra Foundation added another $135 million worth of Bitcoin, taking their total Bitcoin purchase for the year 2022 to more than $1 billion. Terra has pledged to have $10 billion worth of Bitcoin in its reserves. So Terra has been buying Bitcoin, and they plan to use Bitcoin to back their stablecoin. So their stablecoin is UST, which is basically pegged to the US dollar. So it stays around the dollar price range. And Terra is buying Bitcoin with their funds, and they're having that to back their stable coin. And so that's one of the main reasons why we've seen Bitcoin going up over the past few days, over the past couple of weeks. There's just been so many companies and institutional investors buying a lot of Bitcoin and accumulating it. I was actually watching a video, it was either yesterday or the day before, where it was showing, the analyst was showing how like millions and millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin was now coming off of exchanges. And that's typically a bullish sign, because it means that the people that are taking the Bitcoin off of exchanges tend to hold them, or to hold them long term and not sell. And so whenever that happens, that means that people are holding Bitcoin. They don't have plans to sell. And that's typically a bullish sign. When you see millions and millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin going on exchanges, that typically means that that person or institution or group of people, whoever it is, they intend to sell their Bitcoin, which is why they're putting it on the exchange. So we've been seeing more and more Bitcoin coming off of exchanges, meaning that people aren't selling their Bitcoin, but they're buying and they're accumulating. And that's just another reason why the price has been going up. Next news story here, very similar to what I just read, says locked and loaded, MicroStrategy takes $200 million loan to buy more Bitcoin. So Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, they just continue to double down on their belief in Bitcoin and the technology and what it can do and what effect it will have on the future. And they just continue to buy millions and millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And so now we have MicroStrategy taking out a loan of $200 million, and they plan on taking those funds to just buy more Bitcoin to hold. So this is pretty sweet and good for them. So software company MicroStrategy is it says red here, but it should say ready, is ready to buy the Bitcoin dip. According to a press release, the company took a $205 million loan from Silvergate Bank, a financial solution provider for the crypto industry. The company took the loan via Microstrategy, a subsidiary created with the purpose of holding its parent company's Bitcoin funds. As per the release, the $205 million loans were issued under the Silvergate Exchange Network and its leverage program, and will mature on March 23rd, 2025. So we have here again, I'm not going to read the whole article here, but it's basically just saying that MicroStrategy is utilizing debt to acquire more Bitcoin. So they're taking debt and they're acquiring the hardest money that's ever been created, which is Bitcoin, and they're going to hold it. And as it continues to appreciate, and I highly doubt that, by the way, I highly doubt that the loan that they took has a very high interest rate. So they were able to get this money at a very low interest rate. They're able to buy the hardest asset, which is Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin appreciates, they're just going to make so much money off of that. And I highly doubt that they'll sell, because Michael Saylor has said he's like never selling Bitcoin, but they could, but the company actually like makes enough money to pay back the loan. So it's just great that they're able to get more cash on hand to buy more Bitcoin, and it's not going to negatively impact the company. So good for MicroStrategy buying more Bitcoin, and that's what the whales just continue to do. We've seen time over time that they accumulate more Bitcoin. So I think it's important to follow what the smart money is doing, and ask yourself why. Like, why are they accumulating so much Bitcoin? What do they know that I don't know? The last news story here, it says Dubai school to accept tuition fees in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Dubai continues to be at the forefront of global cryptocurrency adoption, with the latest example coming from a local school. After becoming the home of a multiple digital asset companies, I feel like that was worded wrong. After becoming the home of multiple digital asset companies in the past few months, Dubai wants to enhance crypto adoption through other tactics. This time, a local school reportedly said it wants to start accepting digital asset payments as tuition fees. According to the Zaya report, parents in Dubai will have the option to pay tuition fees for their kids using cryptocurrencies at a new school. This move would make it the first such entity to receive digital asset payments in the Middle East. The Citizen School is set to open doors in September this year and will accept the two largest cryptocurrencies by market cap, Bitcoin and Ether. Nevertheless, the report explained that the funds will be automatically converted into dirhams by a local company. So it sounds like the school is not even planning to hold the Bitcoin or Ether for a long period of time, but they are accepting the Bitcoin and Ether as payment for tuition fees. So cryptocurrencies are being used as a currency for payment for the school in Dubai. So that's very cool to see. It's great to see that. We just have more crypto adoption. I think we'll continue to see more of this as time goes on, whether it's schools, businesses, government, accepting cryptocurrencies for payment for things. I think that we will see crypto used more as more transactionally and not just for a store of value. So shout out to the school in Dubai. And that wraps it up for this video. I hope I said something that educated or enlightened you. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.